be a walk-off home run.
And it's going to be legendary.
James Pledger wraps your day with insight, opinion, plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. Now, here's Pledge.
Welcome into Extra Innings with Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. Whoever you are, however you may be listening, appreciate you always, whether that's 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com, or on our YouTube page at SA Sports Star. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, at SA Sports Star. You can follow me at I Am Pledger. You can comment along with the show, or you can call in 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776 if you want to be a part of the conversation. And there's a lot to get into today. Spurs fall, reverting back to old ways. The NFL coaching carousel, it feels incredible that there are still 2 openings and a bunch of people who have gone on second interviews and seem to be very highly sought assistants in Slowick and Johnson, both deciding to return to the respective franchises. Don't get me wrong, I'm excited as a Texans fan. But is that good for Cowboys? Does that possibly get Dan Quinn out? And if it does, is that a good thing? You look at what Dan Quinn's meant for this Dallas Cowboys defense. Remember where they were before Dan Quinn, when Mike Nolan was the defensive coordinator. Dan Quinn came in and took a historically bad defense for the Dallas Cowboys, and it was one of, if not, if I remember correctly, the worst defense in Dallas Cowboys history. And immediately made it a top 10 defense, tops in turnovers, tops in pressures, tops in sacks. I mean, Dan Quinn's been fantastic for the Dallas Cowboys. 2 straight off seasons you had to pay through the nose to persuade him into staying. Now it feels like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Cowboy fans, you can't get him out of Dallas fast enough. And I wonder if the option, what's being reported about Ron Rivera possibly being the replacement, if that changes your thoughts on the idea of running it back. Because you can say what you want about how the season ended for Dan Quinn, what happened against some of the more physical teams this year as he was trying to play with smaller linebackers. But his entire career as the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator, and that includes this year, except for 3-4 games maybe, has been sterling. So I look at the totality of the picture, and it's like a be careful what you wish for, because what has Ron Rivera or the defenses that he's either coordinated or been head coach of over the past 2 decades really get you excited for? I mean, think about the last teams he led into the playoffs. They were, what, 7-9? Both in Carolina and Washington. I mean, do you feel great? Look at all the talent that Washington Commanders defense had between Chase Young and Montez Sweat and Allen. Like, they had defensive lineman after defensive lineman. Jonathan Allen, I mean, just waves of players And that defense was a sieve this year. People may look at his final game against Green Bay, and Fred Robert Casares Jr. says owners saw how Coach Quinn didn't make changes in the playoff game against the Packers, Bills, or Dolphins. Okay. I mean, against a team like Buffalo, and to be fair, that Dolphins game, the defense played great, except for that final drive in which they drove down the field almost at will and scored the game winning field goal. They only gave up 20 points. It's not like they played bad. The Bills game, I get it. The Cardinals game, you want to throw that one in there? Sure. San Francisco, absolutely. The playoff game, I'd put that more on Dan Quinn and the defense than I'd even do Dak Prescott. But how much of that is he was hamstrung by the talent on the roster? Now, was he making do with the roster because Jerry and them didn't feasibly want to go out and spend on linebackers to supplant Leighton Vander Esch, or they had illusions of grandeur that he was going to come back at some point this year, earlier in the process after the injury? Possibly. Or did Dan Quinn tell them, no, I want to do this with safeties playing linebacker with the speed? It's an adaptation, and that's the smaller linebacker, the safety, made them very good in the pass and coverage. The problem is you got to get teams to third down in passing situations. Now, there's not a lot of teams that can victimize you in those certain ways, but the teams that could did. So, as a Cowboys fan, and I ask you this question, 656 ESPN 210 656 and 6. Would you feel better about running it back with Dan Quinn or possibly hiring Ron Rivera to be the new defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys for this upcoming season, in which possibly Dak Prescott is going into a contract year and Dan Quinn or Mike McCarthy is 100% going into this in a contract prove it year? Which would you feel more comfortable about? Or you can let me know in the comments section. 656 at San Antonio Sports Star on the YouTube channel, or you can X me, post me at I am Pledger at SA Sports Star. Look, there's a lot of people on a short list right now. Fred says run it back with Quinn. I would lean that way too. You're running it back with most of them. Now, the one thing that we do have going for us is Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones both spoke out at the Senior Bowl. And Jerry, while speaking, and I'm pulling this audio to have it ready for tomorrow for you, but according to Clarence Hill Jr., the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, who will be joining the Blitz tomorrow at 3:30, quote, we will be going all in. I would say that you will see us this coming year not build it for the future, end quote. He also cited a needing to, quote, disrupt while looking at the offseason changes. Goldfinger 123. I've said that before on this show. Mike Vrabel is DC. I agree. I would, if you lose Dan Quinn to one of the two remaining openings, whether it be in Washington or in Seattle, I would feel more comfortable bringing in a Mike Vrabel to run that defense and hopefully instill a culture to that defense. And you could say what you want about Dan Quinn, he did instill a culture to that defense because that defense, the culture is getting pressure and causing turnovers. Anytime teams were forced into passing situations, the Cowboys got pressure, and they led the league in turnovers during his tenure. They became very adept, and if you remember previous iterations of the Cowboys, turnovers under Jason Garrett were always a difficult thing to come up with. They were usually always down near the bottom. So there is something about what Dan Quinn did to help facilitate forcing turnovers, and it's worked. And turnovers give your offenses more opportunities. I don't know how much the DeMarvion Overshown injury really impacted them. I would like to think because I'm a fan of his from what I saw as a Texas Longhorn fan, that he would have been a good NFL pro and possibly contributed pretty good this season. But without ever seeing him on an NFL field, it is hard to say that. And now he's returning to an NFL field coming off an injury. And we've seen how the last few of those return from injury seasons have worked for the Cowboys, be it Michael Gallup or Tony Pollard. Even Terrence Steele. All three have had pretty subpar years coming off the injuries in regards to where they were prior to said injuries. It's an interesting conversation. I'm willing to have it with you the entire show, but the big news about that conversation means that Bobby Slowick is not leaving to get one of these other jobs. What does that mean for CJ Stroud and the Texans moving forward? Plus, the Lions keeping Ben Johnson. Does that give them a chance to repeat? We'll talk about it next right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The professionals are here.
Out of the gun, back to Dak. Left side of the end zone. Touchdown.
14 teams with only one goal in sight. The big game in Las Vegas. Presented by Flight by Yingling. Hear it on your exclusive home. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
My name is John Clay Wolf, and I'm the CEO of GiveMeTheVin.com, and I love to buy cars. And I love the system we built to buy your car. It is quick. It is fast. If you've got your license plate number, you can just go to GiveMeTheVin.com, stick it in there. 45 seconds, you're in and out. You'll have a number. GiveMeTheVin.com, America's best car buyer, where we love to buy cars.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-350-6946 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-350-6946. That's 800-350-6946. What do you have to lose? Call 800-350-6946. Again, 800-350-6946.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
Hurt in a wreck? Get George. Hit by an 18-wheeler or commercial truck? Get George. Injured at work? Get George. When you're dealing with personal injury, you need to get George because George gets justice. I'm George Salinas, and my San Antonio-based firm has been recognized across the state of Texas and the United States. Call George Salinas Injury Lawyers today at 210-225-0909 or visit getgeorge.com.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Go to nomoredraftywindows.com for full offer details.
Attention all homeowners. Do you know when to replace your windows? Feeling too hot or cold? It's time to replace. Fog between the glass? Time to replace. Spending too much on expensive energy that literally goes out the window? It's definitely time to replace. If you've put off replacing windows in your home because it's too expensive, here's great news. You can now get a free in-home window consultation and free price quote from Renewal by Andersen, the company with the most 5-star reviews among leading full-service window replacement companies. And right now, you can save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. Just text RENEWAL to 200-300 for your free consultation on top quality affordable windows or patio doors for no dollars down, no payments, and no interest for a year. That's right. You don't pay a dime for an entire year. Plus, save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. But hurry, these big dollar savings end this month. Text RENEWAL to 200-300 right now. Text the word RENEWAL to 200-300. Don't wait. Text RENEWAL to 200-300.
Nothing says I love you like romantic, timeless jewelry. Even better when you can save an extra 20%. Right now at Diamonds Direct, all fashion favorite jewelry is 20% off. That's earrings, bracelets, pendants, bands, colored gemstone jewelry. Get 20% off Diamonds Direct's already unbeatable prices. Special financing too. Get her something she can enjoy and appreciate for years to come. A fashion favorite from Diamonds Direct. Shop in-store or online at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
We are down to the big game in the football season, and you can still play along at Underdog Fantasy. Jason Minix here from the Blitz. I love playing the pick'em game at Underdog Fantasy, where you pick between 2 and 5 players and select whether they will go higher or lower their predicted stats. And if your picks hit, you can win up to 100 times your money in a single night. It is a fantasy game that is legal in Texas and certainly makes. Get in the game now. Go to their easy-to-use mobile app or go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with my promo code STAR, and Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100, and you're ready for the big game. Plus, they'll give you a special pickup higher than a half total yards to use on your first pick-em entry. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code STAR. Must be over 18 and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Super Bowl 58 in Vegas is set. It's the Chiefs and Niners. Hear it right here on your exclusive home for the Super Bowl. 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Where we're talking about good news. More good news has struck, at least as it pertains for the Houston Texans. According to NFL Network's Ian Rappaport, Texans quarterback coach Gerard Johnson has informed teams that were interested in him as an offensive coordinator that he planned Houston. Huge, huge news, as they are now keeping Slowick and Johnson and the continuity around CJ Stroud going into his sophomore season. A lot of teams called about Gerard Johnson. Former Aggie quarterback, spent some time around the league, became the quarterback's coach here in Houston, and is now a very, very hot name for coordinator position. Interviewed with the Bucks, Browns, Eagles, Steelers, Seahawks. He had 5 or 6 offensive coordinator interviews this past season, or this offseason already. So Very, very hot name, huge development, and being able to retain him because if you do lose Bobby Slowick next offseason, for whatever reason, there might be a plan of secession in his contract about being the next offensive coordinator to keep the continuity with CJ Stroud. And that's massive when you're going into the offseason with CJ Stroud after the year he's had, being named a Pro Bowler after Mahomes obviously cannot play due to the fact that he's in the Super Bowl. Incredible rookie year that will likely end in the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Already named the Pro Football Writers of America's Rookie of the Year. And in retrospect, when you look back at the big draft day trade that caught everyone off guard, and everyone saying that the Texans gave up too much when they traded back up for Will Anderson, because they had to trade up for Will Anderson because if you don't take CJ Stroud first, that trade becomes even more expensive. And so the fact that they, in the moment, took CJ Stroud, number 2 overall, and then immediately trade back up to 3. So they ended up trading away their other first round pick last year, 12, their second round pick at the top of the draft, 33, this year's first round pick, which since they have 2 picks this year, they gave away their own and kept Cleveland's. Cleveland's is higher than their own. And a third round pick this year, pick 105, for the rights to draft Will Anderson. They now have the offensive and defensive rookies of the year, according to the Pro Football Writers of America, and likely the AP when it's all said and done at the end of the year. And 2 foundational pieces that help set the tone for what the season was, because despite everything you remember about Will Anderson on the football field, if you remember the pre-draft process, and we're getting into the pre-draft process now because Jerry and Steven are talking that game this weekend. It is the beginning. Then we're coming up on the draft and then mock draft season. It's going to get very interesting, very quick around here. But the things you heard about Will Anderson, especially after the Texans drafted him, right kind of guy, right kind of mindset, culture, leader at Alabama. Similar things said about CJ Stroud, leader, guy that you can depend on, accountability. These were similar traits in both of these guys. So it was clear that the Texans looked at these 2 pieces as foundational pieces along with D'Amico Ryans. And it worked because they changed the culture and the foundation of that organization to where they made it to the divisional round this year. And now have the second most cap space in the NFL going into this offseason. They got a ton of free agents. I believe it's 36 free agents. Some of them really big names like Jonathan Grenard, Dalton Schultz, Devin Singletary. And you wonder what the pieces are that they're going to bring back. And then you've got a quarterback and a defensive foundational piece, edge rusher, both on rookie contracts. Are you going to expedite this rebuild now that you have these pieces and you did what you did this year? And I'm not saying go for broke or go all in terms of giving out stupid money on big deals, on long deals. But do you bring back Dalton? Do you bring back Motor? Do you bring back these pieces like a Sheldon Rankins that were very important to you? Or do you replace and try and find more diamonds in the rough like a lot of these guys were for you this year? Steven Nelson, there's going to be a hole on the other side of Derek Stingley in the secondary possibly if you don't re-sign him. These are big questions for a team that are going to have a much more difficult schedule this upcoming season. So, do you take advantage of that this offseason, especially with the cap space you have? Maybe on 2 and 3 year deals if you have to pay big money, or do you go after the massive names? Do you try and swing a trade for an A.J. Brown? Do you try and go bring in a Mike Evans in free agency? Justin Madubuike? In all likelihood, it's likely going to be a combination that they use in re-signing their own guys, bringing in a free agent that they identify as their kind of guy, because it very much feels like you got to fit the culture, the swarm mentality with the pillars in place there. And then continue to draft well, the way the Texans did this past season. Jarrett Patterson late in the draft, Xavier Hutchinson, Tank Dell, Juice Scruggs, of course, CJ, Will, Derek Stingley from the year before. Those are going to be important to continue to hit in the draft as you build this thing through, but not ignore free agency. And I think that's important too when you talk about this mindset or change in tenor from Jerry Jones. And I don't have the audio yet, so I can't hear how he sounds, but I just see what he said with words on paper. And the idea of needing to disrupt this offseason, going all in 2024, not building for the future. Those are things that I feel like not about not building for the future, but going all in, doing what they have to win a Super Bowl. These are words that every Dallas Cowboy fan has heard before. Hear it every year, every offseason. There's usually a caveat, but there, in some way, shape, or form, Jerry tells you about being a gambler, not being he's a wildcatter. He's not afraid to make the big splash. Like, you've heard this. You've heard it over and over again. Do you buy it this time? 656 ESPN 210-656-3776 if you want to be a part of the conversation. What do you think? Jerry's saying he wants to go all in this year. Do you buy it? Do you believe him? Or is it the same thing you've heard before? Your calls. Plus, also get at me on our YouTube live feed at SA Sports Star if you got a comment on Jerry's bold words today at the Senior Bowl. That's all coming up when we continue here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Good times once again in San Antonio. I appreciate you. It is so good to be home. I needed San Antonio. I'm going to do the best I can to make sure that I give you guys a fire lead-in.
It's the Jim Rome Show, back in the Military City, weekdays at noon.
Hey, Jim Rome here.
Have a take, San Antonio, and certainly do not suck.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and call BS on that. Come on.
It's the Jim Rome Show, weekdays at noon on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Hey, this is Rob Thompson here for Prize Picks. I want to tell you about Prize Picks. For those of you guys that like to play and watch games a lot of different ways, there's lots of different ways to enjoy it. I've been a fantasy football player since the very beginning. Heck, I made my bones playing fantasy football, and Prize Picks is the first one that truly suits me. If you're a DFS player, there's no better place to go than Prize Picks because my knowledge matters. This is a game of skill, and I'm not worried about entire teams. I'm worried about my favorite player, my team, my league. All I got to figure is where he might be, where she might be, pick over, under, combine them with other players, get some prize picks, get some fun, but at the same time, use my knowledge. It's Prize Picks, and if you go to prizepicks.com, throw the word Alamo in there for your little promo, I'll tell you what, you're going to make a little bit of extra, get a little bit going, but I'll tell you what, Prize Picks is the one place I have found I can take my fantasy love and take it to the game. That's Prize Pick. Download today, use Alamo, and I know you're going to thank me later.
Hello, I'm Greg Figueroa.
And I'm David Figueroa. Over 30 years ago, my brother Greg and I set out on a mission to offer the world a better hot sauce.
That's right, David. We made Melinda's thicker, hotter, and better than ordinary hot sauces.
And now we have 32 exciting and delicious sauces that hot sauce fans are obsessed with, like our ghost pepper sauce, our Thai sweet chili, and our best-selling black truffle hot sauce.
Melinda's also has 5 spicy ketchups made with real sugar and no added junk like high fructose corn syrup. People ask David and I, what makes Melinda so good? That's easy. We think like chefs do. Instead of burning someone with hot peppers and vinegar, we use fresh plant-based ingredients and the finest chili peppers perfectly blended to set your mouth on flavor.
Go to melindas.com to find our line of craft condiments at Walmart and other fine retailers. And right now, get 20% off our award-winning sauces with code SPORTS at melindas.com. That's melindas.com. melindas.com.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price to have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right?
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, pass me the intercom thingy.
Attention shoppers. If you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Don't pay for water. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods.
Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Eczema flaring up again? We have good news. Exoderm. If you or someone you love suffers from eczema or dermatitis, get Exoderm, the common sense answer for eczema. This stuff really does work. Exoderm contains the #1 doctor-recommended ingredient in a clean hypoallergenic cream with no harsh additives. Take back control of your eczema with affordable, fast-acting Exoderm Flare Control Cream. Exoderm. It's in the first aid aisle of your local Walmart, H-E-B, and other fine stores.
Have pain? Have chronic pain, low back pain, knee pain, neck pain, or shoulder pain? I can help. I'm Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health, and we get to the root of your pain. We don't just give pain medications. We do the proper investigation to see what is the root cause, and it's covered by your insurance. Reduce your medication, avoid surgery, and get rid of pain for good. Call for your free evaluation. I'm Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health, where we get to the root cause of your problem. 210-468-1891.
This is Jim Rome. Join me weekdays at noon on my new home, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pledger. Appreciate y'all riding with me. Taking you up to 7 o'clock. Jerry Jones gives you, Cowboy fans, everything you could possibly want in terms of out of his mouth, right? But I think the other Jones, Stephen Jones, probably had the best answer today when talking to the media, talking about fan anger and understanding that disappointment.
We have had 3 good years of 12-5, and we have had major disappointments in the postseason. So until we do something about it, which is go have another great year and have success in the playoffs, and that's going to be there. I mean, there's no way they're going to, explicitly trust you until you get it done. Can someone trust Tom Brady and the Patriots that they're going to get it done? Yeah. Why? Because they did it year in and year out. Does someone trust Mahomes in Kansas City that they're going to do it? Why? Because they do it 6 years in a row. They're in the championship game. Until we compete at that level and we get the job done, then there's going to be doubt, and rightfully so.
Just to piggyback on that, you know how when you brought up those teams, you brought up the quarterback, which is why we always go back to
we love our quarterback. It's well documented what we think about our quarterback.
Okay.
That was Stephen Jones talking about understanding the fan anger and saying, don't blindly buy in. The reason the fans have bought into Mahomes and Brady and being back in the Super Bowls because they've done it. They've lost that equity. Jerry Jones today at the Senior Bowl, and I can't wait to actually hear this clip, says that we will be going all in. I would say that you will see us this coming year not build it for the future. And then he talked about disruption. And that was something I did manage to get a hold of when he was talking about disruption to the off season.
Well, I know how to disrupt and understand disruption, and I think that the nature of what we do with our roster decisions, the fact that we're here looking at help, if you will, for this coming year, the fact that we have free agency opportunities, the fact that we've got some really substantive decisions to make on our roster as it pertains to, particularly influenced by the salary cap. That's enough disruption for me. If we get through all of those decisions, there'll be a lot of disruption.
Saying and talking about disruption all these years, going all in, not building for the future. Everything except the not building for the future are terms I've heard. When it came to Odell Beckham Jr., I'm a Wildcatter. I'm willing to make those big moves if I feel it'll help our team in the long run. Jerry hasn't made a massive move since Brandon Carr. Unless it's re-signing his own guys for the most part. So his equity, I don't know if it is with Cowboy fans, and you're welcome to answer this for me. How do you feel about it? Let me know in the chat at SA Sports Star on YouTube. Like, subscribe, follow along. You can call in 656-3776, 656 ESPN. Do you believe him when he says that the Cowboys are going all in this offseason? That things are going to be different? I hope so, because the Cowboys do feel somewhat close. But in doing what they're going to do, there's a potential, if you quote unquote go all in, there's a potential you have to watch Tyron Smith walk away or DeMarcus Lawrence. Maybe you have to put things back. And it's going to be very interesting to find out what that means moving forward. And we'll get to you on the phone line 656 ESPN 210 656 3776. I want to believe him, but it's one of those things where I feel like I've been lied to so many times that it's hard to believe him. Manuel Mendoza says, no, don't hold your breath. Jerry has said this for the past 25 years. And I haven't been 25. He was very, very undisciplined with the salary cap money for a number of years. I'd say it's the past decade. And if you got a line, hold it. Hosting the show and taking calls is hard to do both at the same time. Just call in. I'll get to you. I promise. I'm going to put you immediately to hold, and I'm going to figure a way to get to you. But the Cowboys have been told, or at least their fans have been told this for the better part of a decade now, with very few results to show for it. But you can't act like what Jerry and Steven have done haven't worked in a sense. In a sense, Dak Prescott, Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Zach Martin, Tyler Biotish, Tyron Smith, Travis Frederick. They have drafted extremely well to the point, Trayvon Diggs, they have to resign a lot of their own guys. What they haven't found out, because they spend their money on their own guys, but they don't mix in those key 1 to 2 free agent signings you see a lot of teams go out and splurge on in terms of teams that pop up and make a Super Bowl run. But you understand the reason why, because the teams that splurge like that usually bottom out, seemingly draft as well as they do, end up better for the long run. Look at the Chiefs right now. L'Jarius Sneed, they'll sign key veterans. Tyrann Mathieu was one of them. Justin Reeb right now. They splurged a few off seasons ago on the offensive line, but they've got the guys in house that they have drafted and developed. Nick Bolton, Isaiah Pacheco, Rashee Rice is coming on this season for anybody that's been paying attention. They do well enough in Trent McDuffie. They do well enough in the draft, the same way the Patriots did for a number of years. But you have to add in those 1 to 2 pieces via free agency that are really going to help to take your team over the top. It is a mix. While it is mostly done through the draft, I do believe there's a mixing element. And the Cowboys did mix some this year. They brought in players on a couple of different trades, Brandon Cooks and Stephon Gilmore. And it looked to have paid dividends. Injuries took their toll, of course. Losing Trayvon Diggs early helped. Losing Leighton Vander Esch, I guarantee you it is probably the biggest injury to that defense that they suffered this year. Otherwise, I don't think they get exposed in the run games the way they do late in the season. It's going to be interesting to see 656-3776, 656 ESPN, or coming in right here as Jeff McClanahan has saying, easy not to believe, Jerry. It's a losing culture. It is a culture built from the top down. Maybe that's what they need to see out of Mike McCarthy this year. Maybe Dan Quinn is the issue for the culture on the defensive side of the ball. But I will say, Dan Quinn built the culture that made the defense what it's been over the last 3 years, that has made him one of the hottest coaching candidates in the NFL. It's easy to overlook it in the moment of a very, very disappointing playoff exit. I am James Pledger. You're listening to Extra Innings with Pledger here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Could the Spurs be looking to add some veteran presence? There is a Vegas entity that believes that the Spurs could be in play for possibly one of the best players of our generation. I'll explain more next right here on Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's R&R in the morning.
Wednesday on R&R in the morning, the Spurs welcome the Orlando Magic into town for a battle of the previous two number ones.
We are inching closer and closer to Super Bowl 58, and we have some thoughts. But between now and then, the Pro Bowl, and we have some ideas on how to make it better. We start at 6 a.m. Bring coffee, bring snacks.
It's your wake-up call. R&R in the morning, 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Flight by Yingling. It's the next generation of light beer. For those who don't follow trends, but craft them. Flight by Yingling is 12 ounces of uncompromised refreshment from America's oldest brewery. With only 2.6 grams of carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Don't just raise a glass, raise the bar. Flight by Yingling. Available wherever beer is sold. DG Yingling and Son Incorporated, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please enjoy responsibly.
When something happens to your car, you might say,
My car.
but what you really need to say is something that can actually help.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
And just like that, State Farm is there to help you file your claim right on the State Farm mobile app. So just remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
Did you know COVID-19 vaccines have been updated this season? They're one of the best ways to help protect yourself against recent variants. And most people in the U.S. should continue to pay nothing out of pocket for COVID-19 vaccines. Uninsured or underinsured adults can receive them at no cost at participating Bridge program locations. And eligible children can receive them through the vaccine participating provider. COVID-19 vaccines are at no cost, but there may be fees such as for the visit or administration. Book a vaccine option at schedulecovidvax.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Get the appliances you need right away at Lowe's. Explore the largest assortment of brands you trust, like Whirlpool, Samsung, and LG, in-store or online at the best values. Plus, take advantage of our everyday financing offers on top items, from refrigerators to laundry pairs. And there's more. Get your new appliances delivered or installed quickly at your convenience. Because Lowe's knows appliances. Lowe's knows home improvement. Subject to credit approval.
At Progressive, we love sports and saving you money, so we bundled them together.
Top of the 7th looks like a pitching change as they've set up for a corner kick. The two black belts have entered the mat, and the slider is low and away. He heads the ball to midfield. This is quite a kumite. Here comes the roundhouse. Has it got enough gas to get out of here? Unbelievable! They've bundled their home and auto insurance with Progressive. Kick savings pitch karate.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. The IRS just rolled out a new program to help struggling taxpayers more easily resolve their tax problems. It's called the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, and it opens up powerful new options for people looking to get back on the right track with the IRS. And no one knows this program like the professionals at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution company. They've resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients and have the expertise and experience to help you. One easy call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries of wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Make today the beginning of your fresh start with the IRS. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief now for your free confidential consultation.
Call 800-896-8155. 800-896-8155. 800-896-8155.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Well, family, this new year is off to a great start. Everybody, how are those New Year's resolutions?
Dear, my resolution is to cut my damaged hair and just start over.
Dad, my resolution is to take better care of my skin. It's so dry. Ew.
Pops, my New Year's resolution is to work out at the gym. Go up and drink a gallon of bottled water every day.
My resolution is to take up skydiving.
Mom, you're 96.
Don't you make me get it.
Family, my resolution is to replace all our appliances that have been destroyed over the years by hard water.
Sounds like your family needs to start the new year off with installing a Connecticut water system and get a head start on all those resolutions.
This guy's making sense.
There's a reason why we say Connecticut is the last water softener you'll ever own. Call us at 656-PURE. I'll even let you try a Connecticut water system for free. We'll change your water, and it'll change your life.
The last water softener you'll ever own. ConnecticutSA.com.
Listen to 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star on your Amazon or Google smart speaker and just say, Alexa, play 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I'm James Pledger. Follow me on X at I am Pledger. Follow the station at SA Sports Star. Appreciate everybody riding along with me tonight. How would y'all feel as Spurs fans if LeBron James came to San Antonio? There is an article out in Ken's 5 saying that a Vegas entity has LeBron James as the Vegas favorite according to Bet Online, 3-1 to land in San Antonio if he were not to remain in Los Angeles. Now, you ask why. Bronny's playing his freshman year at USC, will be entering the NBA draft, and he's said that so the idea would be a package deal between probably drafting Bronny's son, or Bron's son, LeBron, in the upcoming draft, and you could possibly land yourself one of the best players of our current generation, who is still performing at an insanely high level. I mean, Frank Valdez on our YouTube live stream says you have to waste a top 5 pick on him. You don't have to. I'm not saying you have to get reckless and stupid with it. I think most teams are aware of what Bronny is. Late first, likely a second, that will be pushed into first because of his dad. You're going to have multiple firsts this year. You don't have to spend a top 5 pick on him. Keith Best, too, says, please take him. You want to talk about culture, right? When you talk about culture, LeBron James brings culture with him. And maybe his hunger for winning rubs off on some of the younger players. Maybe some of those younger players get flipped for more established veterans. And now you've one that's not. And he might enjoy playing with them because he was just named to the skills challenge, and coming up here in about another day, Thursday, All-Star reserves are announced. Now, Wemby may have been added to the Rising Stars Challenge, but there's still a possibility he could be an All-Star reserve and end up playing with LeBron there, too. I'm just saying, there's a possibility. Would you like that? Let's be nice to each other. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 941 San Antonio Sports Star.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses